Today, Gordon's visiting Idencroft Herbs in Sussex, which is owned and run by Rosemary Titterington.
That's white honesty for the butterflies. And of course there's a particularly nice rosemary. Well, this is the wall garden.
This is beautiful.
It's the very reason we came here. It was fairly derelict, in fact very derelict. The gentleman who owned the place used it as a little market garden.
Really?
But when I sat in here in the midst of all the chaos, I thought I've just got to have it. Now I thought it was Victorian, but it's turned out to be Tudor with 11th century foundations at the back, and the atmosphere.
It's beautiful. It smells delicious.
Well, that's the rosemary, all this rosemary. When I planted it with rosemary years ago, it was really for food, so that we never changed the flavour of the rosemary.
Really?
And this one, I mean, you just smell a bit of this. It's a particularly, when I cut it now, it goes off for tinctures. But it's well fleshed, it's got good oil.
So fragrant.
You imagine that on a nice vegetarian dish.
I don't like vegetarian.
Things, don't you? Done the siprit, where, you know, with their half oil, half things. I'm not a cook, but that's how, with a little crispy bacon on top for the non-vegetarian.
Perfect. Perfect. This is beautiful.
It is, isn't it?
And just it looks so relaxing, all those beautiful chairs to sit in the summer and forget all your troubles.
Well, there's no point in having a garden unless you can sit down, and people go to sleep in here. Sometimes I come round just to check that they haven't died, that they really are asleep. But it makes people feel very calm and suddenly sort of, oh, let's live today, instead of this worry, worry, worry business.
It's so refreshing to see someone like Rosemary that can consistently be bothered to maintain the same high quality that we do in a kitchen. We were talking about consistency and the flavour, the strength of the herbs.
I feel it's extremely important that a chef shouldn't have to think twice about, is it going to produce the same flavour? There'll always be a variation according to season, the moisture in it, but it wants to be so that the oil is just right, so that you can rely on it, so that it isn't going to taste suddenly like old medicine, which it can do.
Is that the same for other herbs, like basil, for instance?
Well, I do feel strongly about that, that the basil is one of the herbs best produced in the right day length, the right warmth, so in winter it's best grown in a country that grows it well.
Sure.
This is Angelica, absolutely bursting and boiling out of the ground. These are the flowers which are from last year's plants. It's a biennial. And this is the leaf from a new one. And if you just smell that, it reminds you, it's like a... I use the leaves.
I've never seen fresh Angelica.
Oh my goodness, you ought to take a little back with you, because I don't use sugar, and I tend to use this to cook with some things in the spring.
Really?
This and sweet Sicily. I cook gooseberries, angelica, rhubarb, things like that. Now, there is a perfect angelica for crystallising.
Wow.
You take this off, like that, and if you look, it's hollow.
Okay. Amazing. So that's the stem?
That's the stem. Now that I cut, I mean, this is old-fashioned. None of this boiling up lark. I'm sorry. Well, I have to be quick, you see. I make a jug. I have a straight-sided jug, and I cut as many as will fill the jug to there. I toss them in boiling water just to blanch them and make sure there's no bugs. Then I drain them, put them in the jug, and pour sugar down all the holes, which is great fun.
Yeah.
Cover them for the night, and I do that 3 days running. And on the 3rd day, that's when I just gently poach them with a little natural green colouring, till you can just put a little, you know, like almost like a knife edge in. Then I drain them, dry them in the bottom of them, roll them in sugar, and you could eat that as a sweet. It is so different from the normal angelica. Yeah, I'll give you some that I did, I hate to tell you, 7 years ago, which is still, I have a munch of it every so often. I've got a big thing of it.
It'll last forever.
Yes, it's perfectly done. But a warning, if you do happen to decide to grow like an acre of angelica, if you cut it, you must wear gloves and long sleeves, because if the sun gets on the juice on you, you'll get a burn.
Oh, really? But
you will if you cut an acre of parsley as well.
Oh my God.
I know, it's quite a potent one. It's a good spring tonic.
Excellent.
That's sweet Sicily, and what I was just going to point out, those little marks should be there. There's nothing wrong with it. Sweet Sicily always has these little blotches.
Smells like aniseed.
That's
Doesn't
right,
it?
and these sort of, but its quality is that it reduces acidity in fruit, and it's also a marvellous decorative. I mean, I used to use it on cakes a lot, but if you cook gooseberries, rhubarb, I mean, officially you should tie it in bundles, I'm sure you would, little bags. What I do is I throw a handful in and then fish it out like seaweed. I mean, I'm a very quick, common cook. Oh dear, it's good stuff though, isn't it? I think it's so pretty. What I want you to do is to see how this compares, and I'm sure you've got very good suppliers, with a lemon thyme that you actually buy in. It's one of my, I make a tea with it if I've got a sore throat, but it's one I use a lot, sweet or savoury.
Really?
I find that if you make a, isn't that gorgeous?
That is beautiful. Wow.
Absolutely.
That is absolutely delicious. It
Well, what
really-
more could you want? A plant that's evergreen, that smells like that has gorgeous flowers, that provides a hedging. You can see why I'm reluctant to alter this too much. And the background with the purple sage, I mean, that's a fantastic medicinal. And it's also
that is
an amazing one for, you know, not too much of it because it turns things a bit pink. But I used to do edible flowers for all sorts of people, and why this is here is because it was Mrs. Thatcher Blue all one year, fork
really?
suppers. And I got stuck and it has blue flowers. But I also provide for photography because I'm passionate that they should show the right photographs. So, which is why I do an awful lot of weird things. But
is
that
so
lemon,
fragrant. Yeah, so
but
fragrant.
can you get it like that now?
No, not like that.
Now, I learned
Certainly not from
something
Paul
last
Coughlin.
year. Well, I don't.
Paul Coughlin
supply
certainly
him.
does not supply
I
lemon
used to
thyme.
supply him.
And I'm going to call him on the way home and say, Paul, I suggest you start
Don't
using...
get him to nag me again because I
suppose-
couldn't start all that again. Do you know, to supply week after week, month after month, year after year, and as you know, business and friendship, sweetness and light as a friend, but you get him down the phone at 5:30 in the morning.
Paul lives next door to me, and
Does he?
Paul Coughlin, you're in some serious trouble because this is nowhere near what you're sending. This is the best, and you better get back down to Rosemary and start ordering.
no!
For all you couch potatoes at home that think that it's only basil, mint and tarragon that exist, then wake up and get your backsides down here quickly.
This is the culinary garden, and why I don't have it perfect is because nobody has a perfect culinary garden all the time. And unfortunately, when you see magazines, television, things like that, it is always just the right moment, perfectly weeded.
Sure.
So you can see we're actually replanting because with the best will in the world, something like this, which is a good strong oregano, that's a very strong one, I have to replant, and it cheers visitors up to find that I also have to replant.
Sure.
That things die on me. And it is unfortunately the English who tend to think everything should be as the magazines.
Perfect. Yeah, you're right.
The people who come from overseas know almost a bargain when they see it.
Sure. I bet they come in, take your ideas, run back off to Holland.
No, I'll say that for them. Europe tends to think I'm a guru because I'm learning all the time, and Japan is so hooked on English gardens and English herbs
Really?
that they're actually trying to create large English herb gardens, but they have problems because they create them in a Japanese way.
Yeah.
So I have to help a bit sometimes.
Fantastic. Great. So how did you start, Rosemary?
Well, I brought my herb garden here. Was asked to grow herbs for chefs in the UK, one in particular. As it expanded, more chefs wanted them, you know, they know a good thing when they see it.
Oh.
And Israel, after a few years, wanted a new production thing and came to me.
Really?
And they were willing to do anything I asked, anything I wanted at all. And so I took their first herbs out there and was very tactful and taught the growers and the ministry how to grow.
Oh, really? In Israel?
So in the end, they actually had a telling where they had a huge party, I couldn't go unfortunately, where they made it into the legend of how Rosemary came to Israel.
Wow.
I know, I'm in their history now. Right, I wonder if you'd give me your opinion. So many people read books, watch television things, and they say, I've just got to have flat parsley because it's stronger. Now, it is my view only that when I want to cook so that the parsley shows, I use the flat parsley or the French. When I want to distribute it through a sauce or a dish, I find this chops finer and spreads itself around.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. This is what we know as bushy parsley. Bushy parsley we always chop incredibly fine because we can get it very fine, and the flat parsley we just coarsely chop, almost like chopping coriander.
Yeah.
But this goes a lot further, the bushy parsley. But flat parsley is more decorative. The bushy parsley is more flavoursome.
So if that goes further, it probably gives a milder flavour throughout something. But that, you meet pieces of it in the dish, so that's why you think it's stronger.
Absolutely.
We've settled it once and for all, have we? I'm so glad. I hope lots of people are listening because it's a question I'm asked nearly every other day.
But just out of interest, having spent the last half hour walking through this beautiful garden, how many herbs are there altogether?
Of the real culinaries, I should say 30 are the most popular.
30?
Add to that, perhaps, in the tea herbs, about another 50.
Really?
After that come the medicinals, so that brings you up to about 500, 600, 700. And
Really?
after that, I'm afraid I don't count.
But I mean, can you still name all that 700?
In a good moment.
Fantastic.
Oh, dear.
Risotto of herbs with soty scallops. Very simple, straightforward risotto. Enhanced with some beautiful herbs. We don't use enough herbs in this country, unfortunately, and it's just nice to see some refreshing herbs coming through from season to season. The risotto is on a very classic base risotto, where we blanch the rice in the fish stock for 6 minutes beforehand. That's combined together with some fish stock. We've got some really nice, rich langoustine stock. Finished, as always, with a touch of mascarpone cheese, Parmesan cheese and whipped cream. Then onto that we're going to fold our herbs in at the very last minute. We want the herbs to be put in the last minute in order to make sure that they don't oxidise and go black. Herbs this morning, we've got some chervil, tarragon, chives and basil. We call those soft herbs because they're delicate. It's combined with our sauté scallops, which we put on top of the risotto at the last minute. And we call them soft because it's a very delicate flavoured herb. There's no harsh herbs like rosemary or thyme. And normally soft herbs, 95% of the time we're using them, is combined with fish. To start the risotto, we're going to have to infuse the rice in our fish stock. Be quite generous with the fish stock because we need this rice to be completely cooked. As you know, we've just blanched it, and that's the important part. By blanching it, it keeps its strength. It doesn't burst, it doesn't explode. It's nice and firm, and it's still quite undercooked enough to absorb more stock. So fish stock up to the boil. Rice inside. Be generous with it. Make sure it's submerged inside. Because once the rice starts opening up and absorbing that stock, we can actually start to work with it. And playing and cooking with a risotto is live. It's incredibly important to get it to a very creamy, textured silk flavour. And we're going to finish it, of course, with mascarpone, which will give that nice, thick, rich creaminess. Just turn up the gas. Making the risotto from start to finish, 6 minutes to blanch the risotto. In boiling stock, out refreshed on a tray to left to cool down, and then to bring it back together, anything between 4 and 7 minutes. Right, now it's boiling, it's starting to move. Turn down the gas because we want it nice and gentle. And we can start to go. First of all, I'm going to season with some Parmesan cheese, nice fine grated Parmesan cheese. Because the scallops are roasted with a touch of curry powder, I'm just going to very, very lightly season the risotto with a touch of curry powder. Here we have our langoustine stock, which is going to give the risotto a nice, thick, rich, creamy texture. And that's just a very simple lobster stock that has been reduced down with some fresh tomatoes. So, the important part of the risotto is to make sure all the bits of rice and the grains are brought down around the outside of the pan. Don't be scared from time to time to change the pan. Sometimes it gets too dark, too coloured, then risotto becomes slightly over-coloured. So now the rice has started to explode. It's been cooking now for another further 2.5 minutes. It starts to increase in size. It's boiling and it's taking on all that stock and absorbing and becoming a nice proper risotto. Next, I'm going to add 1 tablespoon of whipped cream. Alongside that, a tablespoon of mascarpone cheese. And then I'm going to very carefully just fold that into the risotto. Take it off the heat to do this. We don't want it boiling because sometimes with the mascarpone cheese it can actually start to split. Round. 2 seconds. When it starts to discolour around the outside like so, don't be scared to change the pan. So keep this nice velvet cream looking risotto. Now, it actually looks still quite wet. It looks very runny, but nothing wrong with that because we're working in that mascarpone cheese, letting the rice absorb the stock. And then finally, of course, we're going to correct the seasoning with some Parmesan cheese and some fresh pepper. Nicely seasoned. So now we've got this nice, smooth looking risotto. The rice has doubled in size. It still needs to absorb a touch more of the stock. And now we're going to saute the scallops in a non-stick pan, in a very hot non-stick pan, and set them on top of the risotto. Once the scallops have been sauteed, then I'm going to add the herbs. The herbs I'm going to put in right at the last minute to maximise on that infusion. If I started putting the herbs in too early, then of course, by the time we come to eat this, it would have diluted in strength. There'd be no wonderful power of the flavours through the herbs, and it's important to go right at the very last minute. Right. So, non-stick pan on, nice and hot. Touch of olive oil. Scallops have been cut in half. We want these to be nice and pink, seasoned very lightly with a touch of curry powder. And then pan smoking as always. Scallops in. Turn that down. Seasoned again. And then very quickly turn over. We've got this lovely golden colour. Glaze with the olive oil. Out onto the tray. And now it's time to finish the risotto. Okay, that's about 6.5, 7 minutes now. The risotto has now absorbed all that stock. It's a nice texture. We're going to finish it with the herbs. First, we've got the tarragon and the chervil. Some flat parsley inside there as well. Some very finely chopped chives. And some beautiful, nice, fine, very fragrant fresh basil. Now, in order to incorporate that into the risotto, I'm just going to put another ½ teaspoon of mascarpone just to finally give it that wonderful velvety texture. And the important part of putting the herbs in at the very last minute is they're not going to go black, they're not going to oxidise, they're not going to become overcooked, they're not going to be fad, they're going to be exciting, fresh, very fragrant risotto. And that's why it is a real proper risotto of herbs with saute scallops. Just smelling it now. To correct the seasoning. Very nice. Touch more Parmesan. And it's just, the risotto is just a touch too stiff. I don't want it, you know, forming piles on the plate. I want it to relax and go nice and gentle on the plate. So I'm just going to put a tablespoon of fish stock back in the risotto and just let it break back down again. Bring it up to the boil, and then we're going to serve. Onto the plate, like so. Just give the plate a nice little shake. It's nice and loose. Scallops, I'll just sit them on top. Sometimes it's nice if you want to put them inside, brimwise them up, but there's no point. Round the outside, and then finally a little classic vinaigrette just to finish and to cut the richness of the scallops. And here we have the risotto of herbs with sauté scallops. Bon appetit.
Well, this is a black peppermint, as it looks in winter from an ordinary sort of nursery. I'll just take that out, a bit of moss. But if it was all blown up, it would mean it would start to wilt in this sort of weather we've been having. Whereas that's a true black peppermint.
It's actually very dark, isn't it?
Dark, purpley, blue flowered, decorative, and very good if you want dark peppermint.
God, it's very, very peppery. That's unbelievable.
Very medicinal, good for the digestion. In fact, there's a wonderful capsule they make now with just black peppermint
Really?
oil.
It smells like Rennie.
Which does, what is it? What's that thing called? Irritable bowel syndrome. It helps that.
Right.
There's so many things with new names these days, aren't there? I don't remember all the
That is
ailments.
beautiful. It's so peppery.
Well, now, I thought when you came you were very calm and very nice, but now, how do you feel?
Now I feel like I've been back to school. I've learned a great deal this morning, and you know, I'm feeling very relaxed. I could stay here longer, to be honest.
Well, this is what struck me, how relaxed you are, and that's the effect of herbs. And also, you obviously have a deep love of them and what they can do.
Absolutely. No, it's been very, very relaxing and educational.
Well, I try not to be a teacher, but what I want to do is to pass it on, and that's true.